Hey there, I'm Lainey Lipsky, parenting coach and master teacher. Parenting is hard. I totally get it, and I'm here to make it easier for you. Especially if you had a tough childhood or you've got a tough child now, I've got your back. So take a deep breath, relax, and check out this clip from my coaching group this week. And remember to hit like and subscribe if you like my vibe. Let's get started. You've been having issues with your 4-year-old lying or just joking about some pretty serious things. For example, she'll come home from school saying that her teachers hit her or told her she's not allowed to go poop at school and she's bad if she does. She and her sister also were telling us that the dog at daycare bit her. When we ask her about it, she says it's true. And then after a few times, she says, no, it's not, or I was just joking. We keep trying to tell her that she can't just joke about stuff like that because it's very serious. And if things like this are true, we have to talk to someone and get the person in big trouble. It worries me because now I question if she says something like that and it's true, but then she just gets scared and says, never mind, because she doesn't want to get in trouble and she doesn't want the other person to get in trouble. Absolutely. So before, if you're asking her again and again and again, and then she's changing her story, yeah, I would say that that is not, it's not a reliable narrative, right? Um, it's like asking somebody if they're innocent and they keep saying, I'm innocent, I'm innocent, I'm innocent. And you ask enough times and say, okay, well, I guess I'm guilty. They kind of give in just to stop the harassment. I would assume that you're checking in with the daycare and reporting what you're hearing at home. And I would just say that with little kids, that stories don't come from nowhere. I'm not saying that what she's saying is 100% accurate necessarily. I would definitely check out daycare. I would definitely show up at daycare or a babysitter if you have any kind of like, what's going on here? Show up unannounced, show up and look and observe without them knowing that you're there if you can. Do all of those things so that you in your own heart and have a conversation with them so you're in your own heart can know with more certainty one way or another what's going on. But your child's reporting of something doesn't come from nowhere. It comes from either them wanting it to be a certain way, or a book that they read, or somebody else saying it, or something that they've dreamed up. And it's very hard at a 4-year-old level to explain what was real, what was imagined, what was a dream. They don't have that level of cognition yet. So I would recommend not talking her out of it and not forcing her to say, is this true or is this not true? Because in her mind, it is true. Perhaps she could draw a picture of it to explain what was going on. Perhaps she could, when you drop her off at daycare, show you where she was saying things happen. I mean, there should not be a dog at daycare, right? So that could be totally fabricated. You could ask the teachers, like, hey, without saying exactly what she said, say, there's been just sort of like, we're a little confused about bathroom here. And was there anything that happened around pooping, at daycare? Like, is there anything that I should know? Or she was just kind of talking about some stuff, but don't dismiss what your little kids are telling you. Don't be like, you know, well, that's just nonsense, or they don't know what they're talking about. They do know what they're talking about. It's just not rooted in a reality that you and I would agree with as adults because they have multiple realms of reality. They've got their dreams, they've got their imaginations that are very, very real. It's why a 4-year-old can be, you know, walking around with a broom and then suddenly it's a horse. They're so ripe for imagination, but it's real to them. So it's really important to not dismiss it. It's important to do what you can with the other adults to get to the bottom of what's happening. And like I said, definitely show up and see what's going on and rule out any possibility that any of it is actually happening. And your child, more important than anything, needs to know that you believe them, you know, that at least you believe that they believe it's true because you don't want to set the stage for them lying to you in the future or not telling them not telling you what's going on because they're afraid you're not going to believe them. And I know it's sort of counterintuitive. I'm going to wrap up with this. It's counterintuitive to say, well, I don't want her to lie to me in the future, so I'm going to accept her lies now. The feeling that we're trying to impart in our kids is that I'm going to believe you. I believe you. Right? And so you can say, I'm going to talk to your teacher about this. She doesn't need to know what you say to the teacher. She doesn't need to be there when you talk to the teacher, but you can say, I'm going to talk to the teacher about this and see if that the stories that your daughter is telling you go away. But it's got to be, the message has to be, I believe you no matter what, with the exception of, you watch her or him do something and they say, I didn't do it, and you're like, listen, I just saw you do that, right? But you can believe them without being pulled into their reality, if that makes sense. You can believe that they believe it's true. And I wouldn't say that to a kid because ultimately they're going to be like, well, you don't really believe me. But you can say to yourself, I believe that she believes this is true, and I'm going to treat it with respect instead of dismissing it. Does that make sense? I really hope this video was helpful to you. Feel free to share it and use the comments to ask a question or to request a topic for the future. We've got links below for free support with things like discipline, teaching your kids how to be more gritty, and how to be more patient with your kids, plus access to my free coaching group. So be sure to check those links out. And remember, we get one shot at parenthood. Our kids only get one shot at their childhood. So let's make it count. Click like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon.